don't, why aren't you speaking up? You should. Speak, shout from the rooftops so that everyone can hear what your concerns are. Make your voice heard. We have a hashtag going. Tweet us as well. For the moment, I'm going across to my colleague Radhika, who's joining us from Mumbai. Radhika, you're joining us from Mumbai. What happened in Aurangabad, it happened some 12 hours road distance away from where you are. But this is a visual, this is a picture, this is a story. This is a case that has resonated with women from across the country, irrespective of where we are. We could be in Chennai, we could be in Bangalore, we could be in Delhi, we could be in Mumbai. Negotiating Indian roads for women has been a challenge, not from today, but since forever.
Absolutely, Shreya. What happened in Aurangabad was nothing less than heart-wrenching. It was horrific and something that resonates with every woman in the country, because someday or the other, sometime or the other, all of us have faced, something that she had faced. Of course, we didn't have the guts to sort of jump off a rickshaw to escape molestation bid. Some of us have suffered. Some of them have sat silently. But the fact is, all of us have gone through a similar incident. So it's the same script that is repeating. So I am joined by, of course, as you mentioned, I am in Mumbai, which is considered the safest city in the country. It has the tag of safest city in India. But is it really safe? Let me go across to these young women living in Bandra, to give us an understanding, a sense of what they really feel about the city. To you first, do you really feel safe in Mumbai, or do you have to always look above your shoulder when you're, traveling in and around the city?
No, I feel it's always be like, we have to be conscious of where we're going, how we're dressed, especially like in the local trains, public transport, coming back home late at night. It's always like a source of tension that, okay, am I going to reach home safe? Is there going to be someone passing comments, trying to stop my Uber or, come in the way? It's always, going to be like that, I feel, because I have had that scare while coming back home, and quite repetitively. So.
And what happened in Aurangabad is like a familiar script. All of us are familiar with incidents of that kind. So the question is, what are the concerns you have? What needs to be done urgently, as far as women's safety is concerned?
Right. I feel like addressing like the basic issue and, actually putting the point across, because like the government does have licenses of these people that are coming, that are migrants, and they're coming to the city, and they have like a source of information on them. So like if they can actually just, threaten their license, or even like educate them, and then maybe like give them reasons for like, if you're not doing it properly, then this is what the precautions are going to be. You're going to be, sent back, and small measures like this need to be taken. And in fact, Uber has already taken a very helpful measure. If your car is like stopped, they message you immediately. So like these are small things which I feel the city is doing, but we need much more of that in not app-related local transport as well.
Do you think that women's safety somehow is not the priority for law enforcement? Much needs to be done so that it is prioritized. Maybe that's why people are getting away with it.
I completely agree, and yes, a lot has to be done by the judiciary and the police, etc. But I also feel like we are not addressing the root cause of the situation. It's like a disease. If you don't treat the symptoms, you can only treat the symptoms, but if you don't treat the cause of it, it's always going to be there. So I feel like there should be more outreach at the grassroots level, wherein we should have more education, sex education in schools. I feel like there are literally a handful of schools that have sex education in India at the moment. And just teach them about consent, about right touch, wrong touch, about respect, and respecting any person of any gender and sexual orientation. So I feel like that we have neglected for a very long time, and that has to be addressed.
What about you? What is your point of view as far as the entire issue of women's safety is concerned? Do you think security needs to be enhanced? What is happening on the ground? Are measures being implemented?
I think, adding to her point, we also need to create awareness amongst the people who are already out of schools, because now I think a lot of schools are taking action, at least in Mumbai, maybe not outside, but that needs to be implemented immediately. But also in the other population that's out there working, those are the people right now doing these things. So they need to be educated, and along with that, fear is something that is missing. Nobody is afraid of what the consequences will be of what has been done. So until they don't fear it, they don't know that, oh my God, like if I do this, this might happen to me. Until that doesn't come up, I think this thing could continue. And that's why nothing's really happening. Things keep coming up and they pass off. Nobody's taking action. Someone remembers this for 5 days and then it's gone. What is the point of that? Unless something really major is taken against it.
Right. Certainly. So you heard it from these youngsters here, Shreya. The fact is, what they are trying to say is education, awareness is important, but one needs to get to the root cause of the issue. And as she'd been stating, that it's not about, something would happen today and it gets forgotten another day. So law needs to be strengthened. People need to be scared. People need to, believe, or people need to know that what they're doing is going to get them into trouble. Somehow they're getting away with it, which is why there is no fear. So those are the kind of voices we're getting from these youngsters from the city of Mumbai, which is being tagged as the safest city, but clearly none of us feel safe, even, the supposedly safe city in the country.
Radhika, thank you very much for getting us those important articulate voices from Mumbai. Lalita Kumaramangalam is a former chief of the NCW. She's joining us on the broadcast as well. Yashovardhan Azad is a former IPS officer with us, and Yogita Bhayana is with us as well. Lalita Kumaramangalam, you've heard the girls speaking to Radhika in Mumbai. I'm fairly certain that this is not the first time that the auto driver did what he did to this young girl in Aurangabad. He asked the girl how old she was, whether she wants to have sex with him, etc. I'm 100% sure this was not the first time he was saying this to a girl. Point is, no one complained. Had someone complained, had someone spoken up, maybe what happened to this young girl wouldn't have happened. She almost lost her life. Thank God she's back home. The prayers of 1 billion plus people have helped. She's back home. But had someone spoken up, complained to the police, maybe this wouldn't have happened.
No, I agree with you totally, and with the young girl who you just spoke to. The fact is that one of the biggest things that, one of the biggest reasons why women are so afraid in this country is because they know that most of the time others will not stand by them. Women have to be taught that it doesn't matter if your neighbor or your friend or your cousin or whoever it is doesn't stand by you. Today, the public and the press will stand by you. So shout, make a noise, make a nuisance of yourself. Don't keep quiet. We're always taught, like I said yesterday also on your show, to keep quiet, to adjust, to, think of your children, think of your family, think of society, and think of everybody but yourself. But I would today tell my children, my granddaughter, the women that I work with, that think of yourself. It's only if you are fine, if you are healthy, if you are safe, that everybody who you deal with, especially your family, will also do better. Women are just not taught that you need to put yourself first. Everybody else is, but women never are. As little girls, what do? We are the ones who eat last. As little girls, or the girls of 14, 15, they said, you've studied enough, you're now well educated, we can marry you off. Society has now, but society, the change today is that when somebody makes a noise, we know that it is wrong. So even those who may be patriarchal, they do try to cover up, they do try to pretend that they are very modern and empowered, etc. So make a noise. Change comes very slowly, but it will come if we have the guts also to make that noise, to say that, no, I do matter. And you will find that there are a lot of people who will stand with you. Never mind if they are not the people whom you expected would stand with you. People will stand with you. This is one thing we must teach our girls.
Don't be quiet. Speak up.
Yeah, don't stay quiet. Never
Speak up.
Stay quiet.
Don't be quiet.
Shout,
because if you keep quiet, if you stay quiet today, a young girl tomorrow possibly will have to jump out of a speeding auto and almost lose her life. If you keep quiet today, a young woman tomorrow would probably be taken into a jungle and be raped. So speak up. If you're being harassed, if someone has said something inappropriate, done something inappropriate, go to the police. Make a nuisance of yourself. Harass the police.
Absolutely.
But speak up, register a complaint. Yashovardhan, Azad, Yashovardhan, Azad, it is so difficult in this country to register a complaint. I can tell you from personal experience, and I can tell you from the experience of all the women who have spoken on this show in the last 48 hours, that it's virtually impossible to get the police to take a case of molestation or harassment seriously. You know what the first response is? अरे इतनी टेंशन क्यों ले रही हैं मैडम? क्या किया? सीटी ही तो मारा, कुछ उल्टा सीधा ही तो बोला, आपको छुआ तो नहीं ना, छोड़ दीजिए, स्ट्रेस मत लीजिए. How long will we deal with this attitude, sir?
You see, the cruel part of this entire exercise is that India is far away still from that stage where women would be treated on an equal footing as men. And it's so unfortunate. And that is reflected in virtually the actions of all the government agencies, at all the public places. And I truly appreciate what you're saying. And this is something which we have been saying since our, SP days to the people, that women should be shown more respect and courtesy. But the point is, when they see the women being treated at their own homes in that way, and that is reflected in their action, even in the police stations, it's most unfortunate. But it's a fact. Things are changing now. And one of the ways is, of course, by speaking up, as Lalita ji rightly said. I mean, in metros, in other places, girls like Yogita Bayana are doing a brilliant job. They are shouting from the rooftops. They are going to the police stations, and it's certainly making an impact. But what is another sad part, Shreya, is that of all the actions that the government plans, say after the Nirbhaya case, there are so many things which are done. And one of the most important thing was safety of women when during public transport, at public places, and these various institutions. And what happened? In the bus, there were supposed to be alarms. The Uber fellows, they were told, they were given directions. And unfortunately, many of the states did not even send the proposals. And then, some time back, even only 43% of the money which had come, that was also expended by the state. So again, that reflection of the states on these kind of things, and the priority given is very, very low. And the kind of judicial system that we have...
I'll tell you a bit about priority. Mr. Azad, I'll tell you a bit about priority. We all, Yogita, just come in here. We all remember the Nirbhaya Fund, don't we? It was instituted to make our streets safer for women after Nirbhaya was brutally gang raped and then killed. Do you know what the utilization of that fund is today? I'm not saying this. This is a parliamentary panel that has raised the concern that only 30% of that fund has actually been spent. The rest, Yogita, is lying idle. That tells you something about priority. What tells you something about priority is when you see 11 killers and rapists being set free by a government. It's called remission. It's not remission. It's a travesty. Our political priorities are all wrong, essentially, Yogita.
Total.
Hanuman Chalisa, padhe na padhe, us pe hangama. Lekin, what happens to this young girl in Aurangabad? Let it go. Kaun si badi baat hai?
Very unfortunate, but this is the sad reality of the situation right now. As you rightly mentioned, the Bilkis Bano case, or the latest case where our girl from Chawla, Delhi, the rapist, it was that brutal, like Nirbhaya kind of a case where they set them free within 24 hours of just making one statement that we set them free. Okay, then the later part was like, what was the issue, the circumstantial evidence on all that. I think sir will elaborate on that better. If we keep hearing such judgments, if we keep hearing some such orders, I think, do you think we'll be safe? What happened to this girl is a direct outcome of that, because this auto wala knows that whatever he will do, he will get away with it. And he knows that nobody will touch him, or maybe he'll go to jail, or maybe he'll come out with, just walk free. So these are the repercussions they don't understand. And Nirbhaya fund lapsing, and it's building up every year. They don't want to use it. They think women are not priority, as you also mentioned. They don't understand that we are half the population. We are also voters. If let them think that, maybe then they take it seriously. But then why those slogans are there? Beti ko bachao, beti ko padhao, fir wo mat bolo. Don't say all that. Don't say that बहुत हुआ आपकी बार और नारी परिवार and all that. Don't say all that. Don't give us hope. Because we saw hope during Nirbhaya. वो बहुत ज़्यादा बड़ी hope थी. It was like here. We always thought this was the last case. I swear, we always were hopeful after that. But it's taken them 10 years and we are still there. We are on the same circle we are standing. In fact, we have gone to worse. What are we talking about? A girl is getting chopped in 35 pieces. And everything will depend on the investigation. And if investigation is shoddy, and if they cannot find the evidence, they will also this guy will also walk free. So everything in this country, everybody knows the issue. Nobody wants to fix. We need more FSL labs. We need more thorough investigation team. We need SOPs, trainings, not SOPs are there.
You know what the irony is, Yogita? It's time for me to wrap this conversation, but you know what the irony is? The irony is that India has had one woman prime minister. That India has had 2 women presidents. In fact, our president, our serving president right now is a woman. And yet the irony is that this country, despite having a woman president, is not safe for its women. The streets, public spaces are not safe for its women. That every time you take an auto, bus, or just simply decide to go down the road, even during broad daylight, you're constantly looking over your shoulder. You're constantly scared something is going to happen. We leave it there for the moment. Thank you very much. In the last 48 hours, we've heard voices from across the country. There has been pain, there has been outrage. The only good news that I'm ending the show with is that the young woman in Aurangabad who had flung out that speeding auto is now back home. She's recovering, but she's with her family. We'll all pray for her. Thank you everyone for joining us. There's a piece of breaking news that is now coming in.